we have been able to book over 1,000 appointments using LinkedIn. This is our message. This is our pitch in a bottle. I'm going to be showing you a cool automation tool that we use to actually automate our connections and the conversations. So we are inside of LinkedIn, and I'm going to be starting from here. So if you didn't know, LinkedIn has a couple different backend portals, just like Facebook. They have their ads manager, they have different group sections, and LinkedIn is exactly the same. So they definitely have their ads manager, but up in the top right-hand corner, they have something called Sales Navigator. So this is Sales Navigator, and it is kind of a secret back end of LinkedIn where we're able to actually build out lead lists inside of LinkedIn. So if we come up here, we're able to actually go to leads, and this is where I suggest building out your lead list. So the first thing I like to do is come up to here and just say create lead list. And today I'm going to actually show you how to build out a chiropractic list, because that's actually something that we have to launch in the next few days. So I might as well take care of that while we're on here. So I'm going to go in here and say I want to target all chiropractors in the US, and we're going to go ahead and click create. So you can see that lead list is populated up here. I'm going to click on that, and then now I'm going to be able to add leads to the lead list. So first I'm going to click search for leads, and then now I'm going to have a bunch of different settings of how I can actually search for leads. So this is very overwhelming. There are a lot of different things that you can specifically search for. If you're in the B2B space, you are really going to want to focus in on specific role and then company industry, because that's really going to get you where you want to go. But if you are more B2C, you're most likely going to actually play around with more personal attributes. So specifically geography, again, B2C, you most likely want to target individuals in your area, maybe a potential industry. Again, if you're a mortgage broker wanting to sell, teachers' mortgages, you would actually be able to say, I want to target teachers in Milwaukee or something like that. But again, for me today, I specifically want to target individuals that are currently chiropractors. So I'm going to just type that in right here. I'm going to click include, and then this is going to populate a list of all chiropractors on LinkedIn. You can already see why this is so powerful, because there is literally no other database in the world where you're actually able to build out a list of ideal customers on here. Now, with our specific offer, we don't really qualify too much based off of new chiropractors or ones that have been in the industry for a long time. But that is definitely something that we could do. We could look at, how long have they been in their current position? Again, if we wanted to target chiropractors that have been chiropractors for 10 plus years, we could absolutely do that with how long they've been in their position. We could also look at, maybe we want to target new chiropractors. So we want to target ones that have not been in that specific position for a long time. But one thing we do have as a qualifier with this offer is that they do need to be in the United States. So I am going to include that they are in the United States. And you can see we went from 90,000 down to 47,000. Again, still a very large list of ideal clients for us to start targeting. Now, there are a couple different things that you can do that really do impact if people are actually going to be responding. So one of the things that sometimes we will do is we will actually want to select people that have posted on LinkedIn. And what this actually does is it tells us who's active and who's not. But you can see right here, that took my ideal list from 47,000 down to 805. So specifically for this audience, that is definitely not something that I want to be doing, because again, I want as big of a list as possible. There's some other little different hacks that you can do inside of here. If you don't have the luxury of being able to just specifically outright target your job title, one of the other things that you can do is actually type in CEO. You could type in founder, you could type in owner, and basically put any type of owner, founder, type of job title of a decision maker in a company that you want to target. And then what we're going to want to layer on top is what industry they are specifically in. So we'll come down to personnel, and then let's just say I wanted to target lawyers. I could come in here and say law practice. Now, you could get away with actually targeting lawyers, but again, I want to target individuals, and if we're doing lawyers, I might want to put like senior partner in here or something like that. And then I am basically refining it and saying that I want to target owners of these type of specific companies. Again, if you're trying to target med spa owners, if you're trying to target gyms, there is no job title for just gym owner, so you have to get a little bit creative with how you put this together. But my biggest recommendation is get comfortable with this layout and layering on different audiences, trying different ones out, and then from there you're able to really hone in on who your ideal target market is. So I'm gonna go back to my chiro audience because thankfully it was as easy as just typing in chiropractors. Now I have a list of 47,000 plus chiropractors that I can now go and reach out to. So the old-fashioned way of doing this is you're able to basically say, I want to target all of these individuals. You would come through here, click select all, and then you're going to start saving them to your list. And then after I save them to my list, I can come back in here, I can look at my leads, I can look at my chiropractors, and then I have all of these individuals in my list. But we have a cool prospecting tool that basically allows us to automate this whole process so that we can start booking appointments basically on autopilot with these individuals. So let me open that up and then we will jump in there. So now I am in the back end of our LinkedIn automation software. This is called Linked Camp. If you want the specific sign up for this, make sure to join Setterlun University. We have all of our resources on getting signed up for Linked Camp, and then our actual copy and paste sequences for LinkedIn. But the first thing I'm gonna do inside of here is actually come into accounts, and then I am going to link my LinkedIn account so that it can automatically connect with that list of individuals and actually start a conversation with these people. So I'm gonna connect my LinkedIn account, and then after that is done, we are going to make our first campaign inside of here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say I want to do a new campaign. And then what's super cool about this, you saw before we had to manually add all of these individuals to our list. But what I can actually do is I can copy this specific search. The first thing I'm gonna do is save this search, and then now I'm able to take this link up here, and then all I have to do, thankfully, is come in here and say LinkedIn Sales Navigator URL. I'm gonna paste that in there, and then it is gonna start pulling all 47,000 of those leads into our automation system. And then next, what we need to do is build out our sequence. So there are a lot of cool things that you can do inside of here. You can actually customize images, and I'm gonna actually, after we go through this Chiro setup, I'm gonna show you a current campaign that I have running where it's not just LinkedIn messages, but it also sends an email and then some other personalized outreach. But as far as getting started in here, the first thing we are going to do is just click leads and then click let's set up. So this is our sequence. So this is how it starts, and we are going to zoom in, and I'm going to walk you through the psychology of how this actually works and how you want to set this up. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to identify and take the first person on that list. Now, we don't want to go just right into the connection because we kind of want to warm that person up to potentially getting a connection request from us, because we want to get the connection, we want them to accept it, and then that's how we're actually able to send them a message. So the first thing we are going to do is actually just visit their profile. If you didn't know, on LinkedIn, you actually get notifications when people visit your profile. So what we're able to do is really start warming them up to that potential connection request. So we're gonna first go and we're gonna actually just visit their profile. And this is something the system is gonna automatically do. It's gonna run on autopilot. And then I'm gonna even show you how to plug in AI agents, to then have the conversations with these individuals responding, and it's just going to automatically book for you. So what we're going to do is first just visit their profile, and then you can see inside of here there are some other really cool engagements that we can do. We could visit their profile again, we could like a post, we could endorse a skill, and we could comment. Again, furthering engagement. Now, we've tested out doing this and not doing this, and there is a slight advantage of doing all of this engagement, but at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is sending the connection request. So I'm going to keep this here. Again, it doesn't hurt anything, but it is a 2-day process of then dripping them into this connection request. And this is where it really matters, and what you're putting on the automation actually starts to count. So the first thing I will say is, whenever you send a connection request, do not put a note. Don't say, hey, I wanted to connect with you. I saw you're a chiropractor. I wanted to see if you might be interested in X, Y, and Z. We don't want to pitch before we're even connected and able to send a message. So we have tested this out a bunch of different ways, and the best thing to do is just to send a connection request without any kind of note. So we're going to save that in here, and then I'm going to delete this find email step. That is something that we do teach, but for the sake of just doing LinkedIn Navigator and keeping this as simple as possible, we are going to just do LinkedIn automation. So what we have inside of here now is basically a waiting period. We are basically going to wait for 2 days. If they accept, it's going to move on to the accepted column. If it does not, it is going to go into this not accepted column. And I will show you exactly what we want to do in each of these. Now, again, this is our default template that we give to everybody that signs up, but this is not something that is just going to be standard across the board. Every industry is going to be different, so you really need to come in here and think about, does this make sense for it to be 2 days, 4 days, 10 days, whatever it might be. And for us in the specific industry of chiropractors, I know that they don't just live on LinkedIn, so we need to give them a little bit of time to actually view the connection request before we start following up. So I'm going to actually move it to 4 days. Now, I will say, if you're in more of the B2C space, where that B and those businesses that you're going after are like just live on LinkedIn and super active, then absolutely you would probably want to put this at 2 days or 1 day. Because if they're on LinkedIn and they are active, again, they might have just missed it, and you want to remind them to actually connect with you. But for chiros, again, they don't live on LinkedIn, so it's not super important. So what I am now going to do is look at what happens if they don't connect, because that's going to be super easy. It's a very straightforward process. After they do connect, that is going to be the beef of where we actually put some thought into this. So what we're going to do if they don't connect within 4 days, all we're going to do is send a little engagements. So we're going to view their profile. Again, we can comment, we can like. All of these are customizable and changeable. We're going to now wait another day. We're going to wait 3 days, and then eventually I'm going to delete these approaches. But again, we're really just engaging with them, and then after 10 days, it is going to withdraw the connection request. So that is 2 weeks. We have 10 days. Plus 4 days up here. And if at any time, let's just say after a day you engage with them again, and then they do actually go ahead and connect, it is going to go back up and around into the yes column that they did connect. So let's get into what actually happens after they connect. The first thing is this message is not going to fly. That immediate first message after we connect is when you actually want to give your pitch. This is our message. This is our pitch in a bottle. It is the first message that they are going to see from you. And at the end of the day, you need to shoot your shot, because this is not like Instagram where people are just living and you can actually have a legitimate DM conversation with these people. You need to shoot your shot and basically get a yes or no. We call this spearfishing. A lot of people just cast this big net and try to have all these conversations. We don't have time for that. We want to go right for the kill and basically get a yes or no. Is this something you're interested in, or is this not something you're interested in? Specifically for this first message, we have a couple different things that we like to actually put in this message. Not only is it telling them exactly what we do, but it's also piquing that interest of, this is super interesting. What do they actually do? And then from there, you can get them on an appointment. One thing I will say is that this message is not for you to actually just lay out your whole system and telling them exactly what you do. You really want to focus on the overall big picture of getting them new customers, maybe saving them time, saving them on taxes. It's whatever deliverable that you're giving that specific customer. It's not actually diving into like, we do Facebook ads or we shoot you content, because the minute you start telling them exactly what your deliverable is, they're going to start associating you with other individuals. You're giving into that buildup of curiosity, and they have a lot less likely chance of actually going and agreeing to meet with you for an appointment. So let's break this down. First off, customization obviously is going to be key. Hey, first name, my name's Jake, had a quick question for you. That's going to pique curiosity, like, he has a question for me. My team and I work with over 300 chiropractors and med spas nationwide, helping them connect with patients needing chiropractic services. So when I'm reading this, number one, I'm saying me and my team. It's not just me. We work with a bunch of different clients. We help connect patients needing chiropractic services with chiropractors. The reason we have it framed this way, instead of saying we help chiropractors, is when I say we help chiropractors, I am now being associated and just lumped into this big old pool of me trying to sell them services just like everybody else. So we actually want to frame it backwards and say we actually connect patients looking for chiropractors. We use that reverse framing to actually, again, pique their curiosity of like, they connect patients with chiropractors? That's super interesting. How does this work? They continue to read. If our team, again, this is your pitch. If our team was able to get you 20 to 30 new patients calling your practice every week, would you be interested in working together? So now it's, if we could do this for you and we had these patients actually calling your practice, would you be interested in working together? This isn't me filling their pipeline. This isn't me booking their appointments. This is me saying, hey, if we had these people literally just calling your practice, would you be interested? Again, they're starting to say yes. You're getting these micro agreements like, like if they could actually do that, I'd be interested in working together. And then next is the reinforcement, which is going to be, these are not just normal people. These are individuals that are actually looking for long-term care packages and not curious carries like you get from paid ads. So this is where, again, I start to double down on, hey, not only are these people going to be calling your practice, but they're actually looking for long-term care packages. They're not curious carries. And then for this specific message, I have it in there that says, like you get from paid ads. So what this does, it starts to bridge away from the chiropractor thinking that, this is like just, they're just looking for a referral partner, into like, this is, some kind of a service. But again, they keep reading. Now I double down on that thought process and say, plus we perform or you don't pay. I already started to associate with this message with some type of service. Now I'm doubling down on it with some kind of risk reversal, which again is we perform or you don't pay. You don't pay is leading them down that path of, hey, okay, this is some type of service. And it is kind of telling them subliminally that, there is some kind of payment associated with this specific offer and this message that I'm getting. But again, we don't want to just do that at the start. We want to drag them through the message. And then lastly is our call to action. So if you feel like you'd like some more information on working together, let me know. We can set up a time to chat. That's our call to action, is let's get on a meeting. So that is our message. That is our $7-figure, $1 million message framework for organic LinkedIn prospecting. All you need to do is take this specific framework, plug in your offer, and you're going to start to get responses from these individuals. I'm telling you right now, if you try to go into these conversations just saying like, hey, how's it going? These people on LinkedIn don't have that much time, and they don't just live on LinkedIn to have conversations like Facebook or like Instagram. So I'm telling you, if you take anything away from this video, please make it a one-off message and shoot your shot in that first message, because that's going to get either a yes or no, and then from there you're able to take people and get them booked on your calendar. But you're not wasting all of this time with people up in the air and then they lose interest, and now it's just this weird open conversation. So again, we're spear fishing. We want a yes or no. Yes, we take to an appointment, and no, We just let them be, and it is what it is. You could have some kind of downsell too. I think that is super underrated for all of this outbound prospecting, that if you do have some kind of community or group or free template, if you get a no out of somebody, just say, hey, no worries, I want to shoot this over for you. You might be interested in this in the meantime, or something like that. Don't just throw away your no's. Always give value, because that could be somebody that comes back to you. Another little hack is send them to your website and then retarget the fuck out of that no until you get a yes, because that's absolutely something that you can do. But that's one of those little strategies we teach in Setterlun University. But what happens if they don't reply? So this is where we can get a little bit creative. You can see we have ChatGPT enabled inside of here. So what we could do is we could say, hey, rewrite this message. This is Jake. Thanks for connecting. Wondering if you saw my message. I could rewrite that and just have a bunch of different variations. You can see we have email set up in here. I'm going to delete that. And then next, again, really cool customization that we use is you can see we have this image right here that is basically, you know, a little, and then it says get my message. But let me show you what this actually looks like in LinkedIn. So you can see inside of here, it actually took their first name and it put them on the whiteboard. And then I'm able to send a custom picture that says, hey, did you get my message, with their first name on it. And again, it's that type of personalization that is going to get people responding to your messages. Because when they actually feel like you're legitimately reaching out to them and it's not automated, again, we call that a pattern disruptor, people are actually going to respond. So that is absolutely something you can play around with. We suggest sending something after 2 days. Now, with this being chiropractors, I might change this. I might not do 2 days, and I might actually change this out to 4 days, because again, chiropractors aren't just living on LinkedIn, and I don't want to blow them up and make them feel bad and just piss them off by sending all these messages and they have like 5 messages from me when they go and check their LinkedIn. So we're going to put that at 4 days. So what I can do is come up back to my message. I'm going to post my message in here and then say rewrite this message. And then what I can do is I can take this custom value. You see this is already plugged in to set up for email. But what I could do is then come in here, post the custom value, and then that custom ChatGPT message is going to be sent in my next follow-up message. But you can make this as long as you want. Again, we could actually send links. Again, this is from my school automation. So maybe inside of here, I might say, hey, you know, this is our booking link when you see this, something like that. And then I would put in my booking link. So that is just a way that you can, again, set this up. The world's your oyster. You can customize this as much as you want. But at the end of the day, my biggest thing is don't overthink it. Just send the connection without any text. That is going to be your biggest thing. And then shoot your shot with this messaging framework. And then everything after that is really going to come down to how long of this messaging you actually want to put together. But think about your specific industry. Again, for chiros specifically, after I'm done recording this video, I might go in there and I might record a VSL and I send them the YouTube link, because it's a specific link to a VSL for chiros. Maybe it's some kind of value or YouTube video that I just do for chiros in general, showing them how they can increase their calls at their practice. You could do value like that. You could send a custom Loom video to them inside of LinkedIn as well. You can send out webhooks. The world is absolutely your oyster with what you can do with this software in terms of follow-ups and outreach. You could even send their specific contact info over to a data enrichment zap or a webhook, and then actually get the name, phone, email of this specific person, and then do a voicemail job or text them. Again, there are so many different things you can do. If you have a setter, even better. You could have that setter cold calling their practice and saying, hey, Mr. Chiropractor, this is Jake's, assistant, or this is from, Jake Setterlun's team. I was just reaching out to you. We connected on LinkedIn, but you never replied to his message. I'm just curious, did you get that? And then again, you can go from there, give them your little pitch, and see if they're interested in booking an appointment. But I will end this with this. At the end of the day, all outreach, cold outreach specifically in general, is about a yes or no. I'm telling you, everybody out there is preaching, oh, have some kind of conversation and warm them up. It is not scalable. I want a yes or a no, because then I can say, okay, I sent 100 messages, 5 people replied yes, 15 replied no, and then I go from there. Maybe I change up my message, and the next 100, 2 people reply, 15 reply no. Okay, let's go back to the other message, let's tweak something else, and then continue to go from there. But if you just have all of these open conversations, it's hard to keep track of, and it's hard to actually look at the results and scale. I could scale with this message all day, every day, because I can make a variation for cold calling, I can make a variation for LinkedIn. But if I was trying to train somebody to have this crazy conversation with people, it's very hard to scale and it is very hard to track. So that's our process on how we're able to book 50 plus appointments a day using LinkedIn organic outreach. But you don't know what to say when you actually get on the phone with that client, what to do, how to retain that client, how to over deliver, track all of your KPIs. So you need to go watch our other video where I break down how I've scaled over 8 businesses now to 7 figures, topping out at $1 million months. And even just recently, a new agency we launched just 28 days ago is already doing $110,000 a month. We go over everything in that video, so you need to go watch it.